What's up, everyone? My name is Ryan Anthony Hernandez, and if you've been following me, you're very much used to me talking about cults and religious abuse and the healing journey. And you've already seen some of my interviews, and maybe you've listened to some of my podcasts where I talk to survivors and authors regarding different ways of healing. Now, today I'm doing something so much different, and I kind of explained a little bit how, in a previous episode, how in cults, especially the one that I was in, there were a lot of suppression when it came to movies, and when you would watch movies, it was more to scare you and to be worried about the end times, the end of the world. But personally, I've always loved movies. I've had a passion for the storytelling, and today I'm trying to do something different. And maybe this is part of my own healing journey, and that is to, again, just be authentic. So I'm going to be authentic, I'm going to be real. And when I leave movie reviews or recommendations, whatever, I'm doing it from the perspective of someone who has grown up in LA County, someone who was in a very religious environment, a very cultish environment, and now I think that's really developed a lot of my viewpoints. So maybe my perspective is going to be way different from what you see from other podcasters or movie reviewers, and it's kind of nerve-wracking, but what the heck, I think I just want to be authentic, and without further ado, I want to present my first film review or film thoughts. And of course, a little warning, these reviews that I'm going to be leaving are totally going to be spoilers. So if you don't want your film experience to be spoiled, just leave a like and watch it later. But just giving you already a heads up. So the movie that I'm going to be talking about today is the Banshees of Inisherin. And an interesting thing that I'm thinking about now is that even in the title there is a spoiler alert. So if you're familiar with Irish folklore, well, me personally, I have some friends who are from Ireland, and they would talk about banshees, and this was in the early 2000s. And when they would talk about banshees, I was always thinking, well, what the hell is a banshee? I never heard that word, I never came across it, and when I made these Irish friends, I started hearing it quite often in their storytelling about their childhood. Now, a banshee in the Irish folklore is in the darkness of night, you hear a woman's wailing and crying and screaming. And supposedly, these banshees, these women, ghostly women, are crying because the next day someone is going to die. So already in the title, The Banshees of Inisherin, you're already having a bit of a spoiler alert. So just by the title that someone is going to die. So there are 5 characters that I wanted to talk about because these 5 characters are the ones who stood out to me most. Now, of course, there are more characters in the movie, but you're going to have to watch it because I'm not going to spoil the entire film, just pieces of it, big pieces of it. But anyways, the first character who I found to be very interesting was, of course, Patrick. He's the main character, and Patrick is played by Colin Farrell. Now, he's a bit of a dimwit, and I think everyone sees him as a dimwit, everyone in the town, but there's a bit of respect, so they don't go and tell him, straight off, hey, you're a dimwit. So there's a bit of that respect, but his way of living life is taking care of the farm animals, having his drinks at the pub, and going to sleep, waking up, and that's his routine. There's no ambitions, no desires, no dreams for growth or progress. He just wants to live a simple life, chit chat with his friends, enjoy the day, go to sleep, drink again, and that's it. Character number two is Siobhan. She is the sister of Patrick, and she's the complete opposite of her brother. Her brother, as I mentioned before, is a bit of a dimwit, and he's very content living on this small island because he has no ambitions. And you see Siobhan, she's dying to get out of there. She wants something bigger in her life. She's sharp, she's bright, she's a hard worker, and she knows that she can do so much better outside of that island and away from her brother. But it hurts her. I think it hurts her because she loves her brother, and she knows that her brother just wants to enjoy life. But for her, life isn't just about sitting down, drinking at the pub, and doing these same routines. She wants to do something bigger, look for more opportunities. And a part of me thinks that maybe Patrick, Colin Farrell, is holding her back. But as you see the movie unfolding, things will happen where she has to choose whether she'll stay in Inisherin or if she will be ambitious, cut ties with her brother, and move on to something bigger in life. Character number three, that is Colm. He is, in the very beginning, he's very distant from Patrick. But as you understand the movie, and of course, if you've seen the trailer, you'll see that they had been friends. They were friends for a long time, but as the movie starts, Colm doesn't want anything to do with Patrick. He just wants to keep him at a distance, and he still goes to the pub, but he just doesn't want to be friends with Patrick. And it might seem at first, when I first saw the movie, I thought that Colm was probably just being a little selfish. Maybe he's just being a bad friend. But then Colm makes this promise that if you keep bugging me, I will cut my finger off. And the more you keep bugging me, I'm going to keep cutting my fingers off. So don't talk to me. So you see this Colm character, he just wants his own peace. But the question is, what caused this? Why is it that Colm doesn't want to be friends with Patrick? Because as you watch the movie, you start saying that, hey, for years they have been going to the pub together. For years they had been sitting down. But of course, as the movie unfolds, you'll kind of have a more understanding of this character Colm. And I find it very interesting because in the movie there are a few scenes where he's alone. He's playing with his with music, and then you'll see him dancing with an animal, with his dog. So he's not totally a cold person. I think that there is kind of like Siobhan, ambitions, desires to do something big in life, but kind of like Siobhan, I think that Colm sees that he needs to get away from Patrick, and he does, by making this deal that if you talk to me, I'm going to be cutting my fingers off. So just leave me alone. And I found that very interesting. Character number four is Dominic. Now, as you watch the movie, he plays a very small role, but for me, his role is huge. At least that's how I saw it. And Dominic is the dimwit of the story. Everyone knows he's the dimwit, and he knows he's the dimwit. But then you have Patrick, who he is a bit of a dimwit, but no one tells him, and he doesn't know that he's a dimwit. So you see these two kind of parallel at a time, where they have their dim-wittedness, but there is a point where Dominic, he too doesn't want to do anything with Patrick. So I don't know what the heck is going on with Colin Farrell's character, but it seems that everyone wants to get away from him, and even Dominic at the very end, this dim-witted guy gets this, I guess, maybe some wisdom, where he sees that perhaps Colin Farrell or Patrick has something wrong with him. Maybe it's selfishness. Maybe he's just self-centered, and he also wants to keep a distance from poor old Patrick. Character number 5 is Jenny. Now, Jenny isn't a person. Jenny is actually one of the farm animals, because I mentioned earlier that Patrick, his life was taking care of the farm animals, go to the pub, and go to sleep, and the next day, same routine. Now, I'm mentioning Jenny because I think that there is a huge role that she plays in the movie, and I found it very interesting because everyone else seems to be leaving Patrick. First, Siobhan, she's leaving him for her ambitions, which are noble ambitions. She wants to do something bigger in her life, but she needs to cut ties, at least for a while, from her brother Patrick. Two, you have Colm, who, as you get to understand the movie, they had been friends for so long, but out of the blue, it's like I need to stop this friendship. I need to go my own way. So you have two gone, and then you have Dominic, who towards the end is like, "Hey, I can't spend time with you, Patrick. I'm not gonna, be with you anymore either." So the only one who is staying with Patrick is Jenny, and you see that they have this tender relationship where, of course, Patrick talks to her and feeds her, and he really loves her. But then, boom, Jenny dies, and it was just so interesting how she died because Colm. He made this deal that, hey, Patrick, if you talk to me, if you try to, have any contact, I'm going to cut off my finger. So that's what he does because Patrick doesn't get it. Patrick can't get it in his mind. He can't get it through his skull that people just want to get away from him. So Colm, dead serious, he cuts his finger off and he gives it. He throws it to the front of the house, and he loses his fingers, Colm, and Patrick, he loses his donkey because, as you'll see the movie, it's kind of a comedic, dark humorous way how the donkey dies. But I found that that was a very important part of the story. So I've already broken down the characters. Now I kind of want to break down the movie the way that I saw it. Now at first I saw Colm as just being cold and mean. And I'm thinking, why on earth is he being so mean to Patrick? Patrick is just a simple guy. And from what I'm starting to see, they have this history of just going to the pub, having good times, drinking, and it seems like a good friendship. But then there is a point in the movie where Colm goes to confession, and he tells the priest that he had been struggling with despair, but he's doing better now. Now I'm thinking, why is he doing better now? And I guess maybe it's because he's no longer talking to Patrick so much. But if they were friends for so long, I'm also wondering, why is it that Patrick never saw the signs that his friend Colm was in despair? Because if you've ever been in a moment of life where you're in despair, it's a dark place. Sometimes you don't want to get up in the morning. Sometimes you don't want to have ambitions. It's a very hopeless period, and it's a very dark period. And that's the time where a true friend is supposed to come and maybe listen to what's going on, if everything's okay. But at this point of the movie, you see that Colin Farrell still wants to have a relationship with him. But I think that that Colm sees is just too late. That he's seen through Patrick's BS, because Patrick, I think, is very self-centered, because a good friend would have seen the despair. Lastly, I want to talk about two deaths that happen in the movie. The first one is Jenny's. When Jenny dies, your emotions are like, dang, why did Jenny have to die? And why does she have to die that way? And as a viewer, I felt more drawn to Jenny than to some of the other characters. And the second death is Dominic's. Now, Dominic, I think I have to watch the movie again, but I think that the way they put his death was it was some kind of an accident. But I think that Dominic, he was in despair, and I don't think that he died on accident. And the reason why I think that he was in a place of hopelessness, a place of despair, is because when you're watching the movie, you care more about the donkey dying, and I think that that's what happened in many relationships, in friendships, is that sometimes there are these red flags where maybe this friend or this person really needs someone to just listen and companionship. But us as the viewers, sadly, I think that the way the film goes, you don't really care so much about Dominic when he dies. It's just he dies, and it sucks. But when Jenny dies, there's more of an impact on your emotions. So I think that's what happens with people who are in despair, who are in that dark place. It's like no one cares about me. No, my life. If I am to leave today, it's not going to leave an impact. So you have the death of someone whom I think was in despair. You have the death of Jenny, and we have our emotions go more toward the loss of a donkey, and then you have Colm, who is struggling with his despair and is going to extreme measures to keep away from Patrick by cutting off his fingers and saying, "Hey, I'm done with you. Please stay away." And then you have lastly Siobhan, who really is ambitious and goes to follow her dreams. And it just sucks because you see this story growing, and the way it ends, I kind of wanted to see more, but it was also a good ending because it can just make you think, and watching it made me want to just do this film review. So I'm going to end it there. I hope you enjoyed this first film review that I'm doing. Feel free to subscribe, like my other stuff, and I'll be leaving more film reviews. So please feel free to drop comments, give me some advice, suggestions, because this is my first time and I'm very open to developing my skills. So thank you for watching. I'm Ryan Anthony Hernandez. I'm the host of the podcast, The Truth That Heals. You can find it here on YouTube, and you can also find it on Spotify. Thank you so much. Have an awesome day, and I can't wait to see you all in the movies. Peace out, y'all.